Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here, all of you early risers. And we are thrilled to be able to have this wonderful conversation with Valérie Pécresse, the president of the Paris region. And as we're thinking about women as a rising force in politics, there's no one better, I think, to kick us off in our conversation. So I want to talk, you've had a wonderful career as the Minister of Budget, as the Minister of Higher Education, as the government spokesperson, and now the president of the Paris region. How have you seen the landscape for women in politics change from the time that you began to now? What's different? What's the same?
Well, I think things are changing. I was telling you backstage, Leah, that 12 years ago, when I was a young member of parliament, a promising member of parliament, I went on a talk show on prime time, and the journalists on prime time on French TV asked me, "And you, Madame Pécresse, who did you sleep with to get to where you are?" 12 years ago. And I answered to him, "This is a chauvinistic question. Would you ask it to a man?" And he said, "Of course I would." And I said, "Then do, please." But I never heard him ask that question to any young member of parliament, male young member of parliament, ever. So things are changing. I don't think any journalist could ask a young member of parliament, young female member of parliament, that question now again on prime time on a major TV show. But still, sexism in politics is a huge problem. In my last campaign for the election, the regional election in Paris, I had to suffer blonde jokes. Blonde jokes. I was the blonde. And as Ségolène Royal said, it's not easy to translate. Maybe someone can translate for me. But I think male people do blunders. Ils font des bourdes. But female are mistakes. Ce sont des gourdes. So male makes mistakes and women are mistakes. And it's a joke, it's a play on word in French. Les femmes font des bourdes, les hommes font des bourdes, les femmes sont des gourdes. That's what a lot of people think. And so we have to face prejudice still in France. And what I feel is my duty as president of the biggest French region is to promote all female talents around me. And if I do, and if I really help them rise and I empower them, then the look on women politicians and women responsible will change. So that's what I did. To prepare my election in 2015, I made a real human resource challenge, and I tried to find out women, and women also coming from the diversity of France, that are very representative, and I tried to make them grow. I gave them responsibilities. I sent them to local elections. I trained them. And now they are my vice president for education, vice president for culture, but also vice president for economic development, because there is no such thing as a female responsibility in politics. So I want women in the tough issues. I want women working on security. I want women to work on finance, where the power is, the real power in politics is. That's what I'm doing. And of course, my chief of staff is a woman. Half of my directors are women. When I arrived, 100% of the directors in the Paris region were male. So I think, and I promote also networking. I do a lot. One of my very good friends, Christine Lagarde, always ended her meeting with women saying, do not fear to network. Take the time. I appointed around me a strategic council of chairmen of private firms to help me understand the economic issues of the region. And when I asked, I wanted it to be gender equal. And so I asked 50% of men, 50% of women. All the men said yes, immediately. Not meaning that they are always here at every lunch, but they all said yes, by principle, because they wanted to have access to the president of the region. I asked 50% of women. Half of the women I asked told me, I would really love to, but I have so many things to do with my triple life, professional, family, personal, that I'm not able to take the time to talk to you once in a term. And doing that, they missed the opportunity of having lunch with the president of the region, of course, but also with 50% of male friends and having a network opportunity. So what I'm saying is really take the time to network. I know it's difficult, I know it takes time, I know, but that's what men do, and that's what gives them an advantage.
That's really important. We have data in the United States that says if you ask a man to run for office, you only have to ask him twice before he says yes. If you ask a woman, you must ask her 7 times.
I have my own experience.
Yes.
Because I've been a boss of huge administrations for now 15 years, being a minister and now at the region. And when I give a woman a promotion, I decide to give her a promotion. When I give a man, a promotion, the man says, yes, thank you. And when I give a woman a promotion, or I propose a promotion to a woman, she says, are you sure I'm going to be capable of handling these responsibilities? This is very disturbing, because for a chairman, having someone in front of you saying, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to tackle the problem, or I'm not sure I'd be, I'm the person for the job. I'm not sure. Are you sure that I'm the person for the job?
So how do we address that? Is that a function of, can that be addressed with mentoring, for example? I spent a lot of years as the chief of staff of the Democratic Party in the United States, and there were very few women. And so there were very few mentoring opportunities for me. I had to go outside of politics to find mentors. So can more mentoring for young women, for women in politics, help with confidence, help with opportunities?
That's why I'm taking part in such meetings all the time. And I'm telling women, do not speak out loud your doubts, because your boss doesn't want to hear your doubts. He wants you to be confident in yourself. And it's all about confidence. When I was Minister for Higher Education, I did special lessons for fragile pupils. It was to prevent failure at the end of the year, and it was special lessons, tutoring, mentorship for people that have trouble, that were not sure to succeed at the end. And what did I get? I got a lot of women who had 12 out of 20. 12 out of 20 means, not 10, but more than 10. And 10 is the average, is what you have to pass in the next year. And they have 12 out of 20. So they were sure to get the year, but they went there to do the tutorship because they were frightened and they were afraid of not succeeding. And the men, the young pupils, the male pupils, who had 8, who were under 10. They said, no problem, I'm dealing with it. I don't need the tutorship. I don't need the mentoring. And so they failed. But they had hyper confidence. And the young pupils, female pupils, they were anxious about their success. So the mentoring was not useful because it didn't get to the pupils that were very fragile, that needed the tutorship. It went to the female students who were very, very tense. In fact, we have more women with high grades in universities than men. The problem is not education. The problem is really, as you said, Leah, is getting confident. And it needs also people in which you can identify yourself. Figures, I call them figures of identification. I don't know if it's a good translation in English. But
role models.
Role models, exactly. We need role models. I had a role model. It was Simone Weil. Simone Weil was, as you know, maybe she's now what we call le grand homme, a big. She's in the Panthéon, so she's now a national hero. And what is ironic is that we call national heroes grand hommes. We don't call them great men, not great women. So it's generic. Well, she's buried in the great men's Panthéon. But anyway, Simone Weil was my mentor, and Simone Weil was she was sent to Auschwitz, and she was a survivor from the Shoah, and then she was the woman who passed the law on abortion in 1975. And she had 3 kids, and she was Minister for Health, and she was the first president of the European Parliament. She was an absolute role model. And if Simone Weil had not existed, maybe I would not be in politics today, because she made me believe that you could be a woman, you could still stay a woman, be a mother, and be in politics.
Well, thank you, Valérie, for sharing your time with us and for affirming, I think, what we all have felt and what we know is that if you can't see it, it's hard to become it. So we thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to do next.
Yes, I want to empower women. This week, we gave a special prize. It was the first time in the region for the Women of the Year. And what was very interesting is that it was the first time the prize was ever given in Île-de-France. And the jury chose women that had terrible lives. One that was fighting against polygamy. One that was fighting against excision. One that created a startup to teach young girls and boys coding in popular neighborhoods. And the special prize, one that was in war field, taking care of young Yazidi girls in Iraq and Syria. And another one, the special prize of the jury was given to, you say, a gynecologist, who is operating in popular neighborhoods and making abortions in popular neighborhoods. So it was a very moving prize, and all these women, they were symbolic of the empowerment of women and what women can bring to society with their own point of view, their own sensitivity. And what I think is parity, gender equality, is a wealth to society. And that's what we have to say to every chairman in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.